Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T. I'm here with Nick Ring. He's facing Court McGee at UFC 149, and we know that you guys have a history together from The Ultimate Fighter. So what does this fight mean to you, getting another chance at him?
Well, you know what? We fought on The Ultimate Fighter season 11. We had a good tilt then, and we're going to have a good tilt now. Court went on to win the whole show after I fought him. I squeaked out a victory against him. I had to pull out because of an injury. My knee, my ACL had torn, and it required surgery. So, you know, it was a very sad day for me. I had to pull out of the whole competition, you know, go home with my tail between my legs and go get surgery. So I spent the next 9 months doing rehab and, you know, just wondering what it would have been like to win that Ultimate Fighter title. But anyways, those days are past. You know, Court and me, now we're both in the UFC. We've had a couple fights in the UFC, and we are meeting again. So it is slightly, I mean, it feels like it could be, you know, vindication, I guess. But at the same time, I mean, that was a long time ago. Like, that was the past. This is the future. You know, right now we're just a couple of mature fighters, you know, who have more refined skills than when we met the first time. So I think this is going to be really interesting.
Well, I remember that season well, and I remember that you caught a lot of heat for leaving. Everybody's like, oh my God, this guy has a chance of a lifetime. Do you still feel that that was the right decision?
I absolutely made the right decision. I mean, there's, what I had was a torn ACL. So in the 1980s, they invented the ACL reconstruction surgery. Before that point, when you tore your ACL, your career was over. You know, so I knew I was not going to get that. That was an ACL. I'd already had 2 ACL tears before that point, so I already knew what I was dealing with. The problem is, you try to compete on an ACL, like a torn ACL, you can tear all the other ligaments in your knee, and even worse, you can wreck the meniscus and the articular cartilage. If you wreck the articular cartilage, you're done. You're like a, you know, forget fighting. You probably won't be walking. You know, like you know, you can look forward to a cane for the rest of your life. I made the right decision. I know I did. You know, it was a hard decision to make because, yeah, I had to put up with the flack of people saying, oh well, you know, like if you should just fight anyways. It's like, well, fight for what? Like, I fight because, you know, I'm fighting to win a match. You know, there was no possibility of me winning in that condition. And it wasn't just one last match. It was, you know, I would have had to fight Court, then I would have had to fight Brad Tavares, and then I would have had to fight Chris McRae, all on a torn ACL. Are you kidding me? It's not happening. Like there's a fine line between being brave and being stupid, and I think I walked that line, you know, very. I think I walked that line very good. Like I know what the reality is. I don't live with my head in the clouds, and like that was just that was not realistic. And you know, I did what I had to do.
So you did say that you and Court are both more mature and better athletes. Now, what do you think you're specifically, you know, better at these days and better than him at?
Well, you know what? That's hard to say. You know, I don't want to get too far into it, like with my game plan and stuff. But you know, I think that you know, I think that the skills that I have now as a fighter are. You know, they're much more refined than they were a couple of years ago. I will say the same about him. You know, I think he puts together shots a lot better. You know, he moves around a lot better, and you know, he's stronger, right? So, you know, I'm the same way though. I mean, I think that I've grown a lot more, and I think I've got a bigger toolbox, and you know, I'm ready to use it. So, but well, I guess we're gonna see.
Well, and you also have the hometown support. This is your town, yeah? Yeah,
I do have the hometown support. I don't really see that as a factor in this fight, though. You know, it's nice to fight in your hometown. It's lovely to get the support. You know, I can't think of anything better than, you know, having a bunch of people root for you. But that's not what wins a fight either. You know, it's your training. Your training wins the fight. You know, it's your team. It's your execution when you're in there. Like the only thing that matters is what you're doing right then and there in the moment. And you know, as long as you just gotta. In fact, I think it's better that you block out all this stuff. Like block out all the support, block out all the you know, media attention, and you know, just focus on what you got to go in there and do.
Well, I will say this, though, it's kind of bad timing because I made it to the end of Stampede, and I heard that that's just 10 days of debauchery. I was there for the last few.
So what, you got some debauchery?
I did. I saw Snoop Dogg on Sunday night, and it was ridiculous. Right? Is that your drink? But for those who haven't been here to Stampede, I mean, that's the annual big deal get down, right?
You know what? It is absolutely the. You're right when you say the word debauchery. Yeah. You know, Calgary is 1 million people, and during those 10 days, we have 1 million extra people come through here. Yeah. You know, it's ridiculous. Like the Calgary Stampede, I think it was the very first Friday, at the Stampede grounds, we had 180,000 people walk through those gates. Is that ridiculous or what? You know, and you can see it. Everybody's dressed up in their cowboy gear and blah blah blah. And you know what? I'm no different. Like whenever Stampede comes along, you know, I'm usually the first guy. I buy some stupid cowboy hat, and I look like a complete dork, and I love it. You know, I run around to all the little bars like I'm a friggin' 18-year-old, and yeah, it's great. But unfortunately, I didn't get to do that this year. Thanks, Court. But anyways.
But it's a good time. And
it is a good time. You know, Stampede is a great time.
And last question, you know, I know obviously everybody's calling you Mr. Superhero now and everything with you stopping the attack, but I mean, if you could just take us to that moment. I mean, when you saw that happening, how long was the beat between you saw it and you reacted?
Well, you know what? That was immediate. I had left. I just got out of a yoga class of all things. You know what, dude?
That is hardcore.
I'm more flexible than I look like I am. I'll tell you that. Okay.
No, yoga's great. It's great for you.
Good for breathing too. You know what I mean? Jesus. Yeah. Anyways, I just got out of yoga. I was about to go on there, but I'm not going. Okay, I'm just gonna stay on track here. Okay, but yeah, I got out of yoga. I went to go pick up a Starbucks, you know, because I like to do that. I left Starbucks, got in my car, and I see this group of, you know, 10 pretend gangsters, like wannabe gangsters, beating up on a boyfriend-girlfriend couple. They were beating them up and obviously robbing them because, you know, they had this girl by the hair and were kneeing her in the face. And her boyfriend was trying desperately to save his girlfriend from the beating, and he's getting his face punched, and you know, by these guys, and they're holding him back. It looked like one of those bad movies. Like it was way over the top. It was one of the most cowardly things I've ever seen. And yes, you guys are cowards. Okay, and I had to put a stop to it. Like, and yeah, there was no hesitation because, you know, there was nobody else around. I mean, there was two people that were completely helpless, and they didn't deserve it. I don't care, you know, I don't care what it was about. I don't know what it was about. You know, and from what I saw, it was a robbery. Because, like, the second I got out of the car, like, you know, I started walking over. They were like ripping this girl's backpack out of her hand, and then they ran off. You know, anyways. You can't let people like that get away with this kind of stuff. It's your city, it's your town. You know, I think that each one of us as a citizen has a responsibility to, you know, like look after the welfare of others. I mean, even though this is not happening to you this time, it could be happening to you next time, and it could be happening to somebody that you love next time. You know, like you need to squish this thing like right then and there. And if you see something you don't like as a citizen, you need to speak up. And I'm not saying you have to get involved like I did and like you know, run over like a big caveman and you know, try to like settle it. But you know what? A simple thing like get on the phone and like you know, get these little twerps arrested. Like, you know, that's what everybody should do. And if everybody did do that when they saw something wrong, there'd be very little crime. You know, but I mean, everybody always thinks the same thing. They're like, oh, well, it's not my problem, or you know what I mean? It's easy to like just drive by, and it's hard to make the phone call, but you know, so that's what you got to do sometimes.
Well, thank you for doing that. I mean, and that definitely speaks to the honor that martial artists have and respect for each other. So I think that's great that you did that. I'm sure they're very appreciative. Thank you for. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are.
Oh yeah, and actually, you may or may not know this, but the UFC has they've given tickets out to the
nice.
to the victims.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see the victims at the UFC event.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you. I know it's going to be a great fight, and I'm really looking forward to
All
it.
right, thank you very much.
Thank you.